Hello everyone, Mocha Bear here. Welcome back to Mocha Bear's Hobby Den. Today we're going to discuss how to play games with your friends when you can't be in person. Shall we get started? So this video is being made finally in response to a friend of mine reaching out and asking me, hey, my son's wanting to play D&D and Warhammer and things like that. How does he get started and where can he play? So in my last video, I discussed about how to find games for D&D and other TTRPGs. And since I am a Warhammer player, both 40k and Age of Sigmar, figured we could finally bring that up. So in one of my very early videos on this channel, this is the thumbnail here, I discuss how you can find groups to play D&D with, but you can do the same thing with Warhammer. There are game stores that do still have open tables where you can get together and play. Sadly, Third Eye Games does no longer do that. However, there is, at least in my local area, a store called High Tide Games in California, Maryland. They have a section in the back where they have card game tournaments, Warhammer, all that stuff. They do D&D. Link to their website and social media, anything that I can find for it, will be in the description box down below. I'd highly recommend giving them a call to see what their table situations are like. But also just search online for local gaming stores in your area and find their number and give them a call and find out, hey, do you do tables for games? If so, what are your availabilities? If not, do you know of any areas or people in the area that do offer tables for gaming? Before we go any further, no, I am not being sponsored by High Tide Games, Third Eye Games, any of them for this video. I'm not being sponsored at all for this video. I'm just doing this as a way to help out the gaming community, as this is something I wish I had known sooner. But High Tide Games is also connected to Bard's Bistro, which I did a little mini vlog on with me and my sister going there. This is a thumbnail for that, and link to that will be in the description box down below, as we do browse around in High Tide Games. So you're looking at trying to play Warhammer, and you don't have an army, you don't have the codexes or any of the rules. First and foremost, with 10th edition of Warhammer 40k pretty much launched now, the core rules are free, as well as are most of the army's codexes. You just go to your phone's app store, your tablet's app store. You can probably find it online on your computer, and just find the Warhammer 40k app or Warhammer app, see what comes up. This is what the picture looks like, at least for the iPhone, for iOS. It is free to download. You do want to create an account for Warhammer. You're going to go to gamesworkshop.com. I will provide the link for that in the description box as well. Go there. It's free to create an account. Once you download the app, you can sign in and you'll be able to just access anything that you unlock in the future, because in the previous app, any codexes you unlocked on the website or anything you could access through the app. But once you do that, you have access to the core rules. They're free, like I said. So far for now, all the codexes are free. Their data cards and all that for your units, their abilities. Once you do that, if you don't have it already, download Steam. And you can go to the store. In fact, let me go ahead and bring it up here. So you're going to look up Tabletop Simulator. It is $19.99 for the base thing of it. Don't worry about the 4-pack. Get the simulator, and once you've got that, go to the library, go to Tabletop Simulator. You're going to want to go to right here, Workshop. Click on that. Probably should mention this first. If you don't know what kind of army you want to play, here on YouTube, look up the different armies. You can find the different Xenos races, the different Space Marine chapters. You can also check out the different Chaos divisions. Look at videos, like lore on each of those, and figure out which one you're interested in most. Me, I am a big Necron player. In fact, all these here that you see are my Necrons. These are not even all the ones I have built, and I have maybe a quarter of the models I have built painted. I have literally hundreds of Necron models not built. But with the new edition that came out, the big armies going against the Space Marines are the Tyranids. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So back to Tabletop Simulator. Gonna click here in the little box here and just type in Tyranids and hit enter. And here we are. You see 9E Tyranid data cards, 2000 Sororitas versus Tyranids. Here we go. So you got 40k armies, Tyranids, Sovereign. You're going to want to look for things like this. You can see the little check mark here. That means I already have it. Let's take a look at some more. So here, you're going to look for ones that have the pictures where it shows the models. Because once you get those, so for example, let's see here, Tyranid Hive Fleet Leviathan. So we'll click on that, click on it. And then once you've opened it, you're going to come down here to where it says subscribe, click that, and now they are there. So remember, Tyranid Hive Fleet Leviathan re-upload. So we're going to go back to library, and we're going to launch Tabletop Simulator and play Tabletop Simulator. So you can play not only Warhammer on here, 40k and Age of Sigmar, you can play D&D because there are some pre-made tables, like battle scenes, that are very in-depth. You just need to make sure you have a computer that can handle it. But there's also the miniatures. There's also just flat tables where you can actually just put your pieces down and your friends can join with you. But you can also do games like Cards Against Humanity. There's a Pokemon board game on here. Batman the Animated Series, the board game, which I got from Kickstarter, you can play on here. Another one that me and my friends love playing is Betrayal at House on the Hill. That is on here. So there's a lot of stuff you can do on here with your friends. So we're not joining, we're going to create. It's just going to be me, so single player. And right there. So you see Classic, DLC, Workshop, Save and Load. So Save and Load is all the things that I have saved in the past. I think you saw briefly I have like over 140 hours on here. But Workshop is everything that you have saved, and it's in from recent to older. So perfect example right there. Batman the Animated Series Adventures right there. It actually has all the rules and the pieces just like the board game. Is so cool. But this is what we just did. Hive Fleet Leviathan re-upload. So we're going to click on that and hit load and give it time. It's going to load everything in. So people actually take their time and get the pieces and the models and add them to this system. And it is so cool. Now, I am not sure if this is 9th edition or 10th edition. Pretty sure it's going to be 9th edition rules. Yeah. So you can see you can actually move around. You can zoom in. You can actually hover over the pieces. So, and you got to use the keys to maneuver around. So just like when you're playing a basic computer game, WASD. So here, this is pretty cool. It tells you the Hive Tyrant. So you can spawn the Hive Tyrant. That's pretty cool. So we're going to highlight. It shows you what the models are called when you just briefly like hover over them. But if you hover long enough, it actually brings up their stats as far as like movement, skills, and all that stuff that they have. And then it tells you what weapons they have on them. Is this old one eye? Yeah, this is old one eye. You can zoom in, move up, and you can actually see the detail on these minis. So let's see here, because it says Tyranid Prime and Hive Tyrant. So we're going to check this out. So I guess it'll pop up here. Hive Tyrant, we're going to keep everything there, no wings, and then spawn. That is actually really cool. I've never seen a table with this kind of setup where you can actually do that. Yeah. So you're going to be able to do that. So you're going to, like I said, download the app, look at it, see what models you're going to want to use. And they tell you as well as like how many you can take. But also just watch some more videos on like how to start an army for specific. So like if you're going to Tyranids, how to start a Tyranid army, or how to build a combat patrol. Because combat patrol is like the simplest form for 40k for you to pick and build your models for. And depending on the game, it says it can take anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on how new you are. But it's supposed to be, 10th edition is supposed to be simpler than 9th, and 9th was actually really simple. But so you see, you've got all these models, and you can pick them up and move them. You can even, when you're playing the game, you're going to want to be measuring them. So we're going to go to toggles, and we are going to hit measure movement. So that has a check mark next to it. You can click off it. So now when you move it, it tells you how many inches it's moving. So you have them all selected. You're going to right click. Sorry, you have to bring up this stuff. You're going to right click. You're going to save object. I already have some folders. You can see I have my own Tyranid, so I would click on that and then save. But since I already have stuff in there, I'm not going to. So once you have gotten, and I do recommend saving the models with their name and try to like write down, I'm pointing like you can see my finger, but write down what weapons they have, and then save them as, so this we'd save as Hive Tyrant 2x pair of monstrous scything talons. Save. So once you've done all that, you are also going to want to get a table. So let's go ahead and tab out of here, go back to here, to the workshop, and type in Warhammer 40k table. And you got some various tables here. You'll have some that are blank looking. You'll have some with actual terrain already put on there. So I already have this one. This is like one of my favorite ones, Warhammer Table Forest. But we also have Table City. So let's go ahead and, so same like with the army, you click on it and then you hit subscribe. I'm already subscribed, so you don't need to worry about that. So let's go back. So we're going to click on games and again, go to workshop. And what you would do is click on workshop and it allows you to browse all the things you've added. However, since if this is your first time or it's the most recent thing you've added, it should be like one of the first things here on the list. But I have one here, Warzone Hydra Tyranid Jungle. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and load. I'm sorry, I'm like chewing. I'm getting all the grainy stuff out from between my teeth. I had my teeth cleaned today at the dentist and they didn't get everything out. They didn't rinse it all. Okay, so yeah, you're going to have some tables that come up like this. There's going to be issues with things not loading in properly. They might be a corrupted file or something, but most of the stuff should load in. Do not X any of these yet, just in case, because it's still loading. So don't X anything until it's 100% complete like that. Loaded complete. So click 3, 2, 1, and done. Custom models. There's 14 of these. My goodness. So please bear with me. Okay, so you can see how some things did not load in properly. That's okay. This is just an example map, but if you see problems like this, try to search up like ways to fix it or just find another table. Me personally, I have no problem with this. It's just sad that when it happens. But yeah, this is how a table can look. This is an example of one of many. So this is pretty cool. It's showing you different missions, numbers to hit. This is all stuff that we can go over in another video if you're curious on how to play. So this is actually a pretty nice table. And then over here, there we go. You've got some other cards here. You've got dice. The dice actually do, you can pick them up, you can click and drag and then let go while you're launching it. So like you can roll your dice, or you can highlight however many you want. Just click, left click and drag, then let go once they're highlighted, and just press the R key and just keep pressing, and it keeps juggling them. And then when you let go, they fall. And if you keep them still highlighted, don't left click, but right click to move. You hover over one of them, it shows you what dice their value was, and then the total. So that's pretty useful. What is this? Okay. You've got some tokens here. There are other tables where they have a bag of dice that you can just keep dragging dice out of. and then you've got, it shows you which side of the table is yours with your gamer tag that you create, your picture hovering, and your opponents would be over there. And it shows you what models can go here on the table before you start putting them on the table. So to get the army that you've built once you saved, you're going to go to Objects, Saved Objects, and then you go to whatever file you have. Mine's Tyranids. Now here are all my models individually. What you're going to do is just click on the model. It'll bring up right here, left click, and it's right there. So there's my little Broodlord. So forgot what we can do is once you have a model dropped in, so let's go ahead and drop in this Death Leaper. As long as this icon is here, you can continue to drop models. That's all left clicking. If you right click, it brings back up the file you had open and it takes you out of the dropping mode. So we're going to X out of that. Once you have all the models down that you're going to want, you're going to click and drag to highlight. So left click and drag, let go, and you're going to right click over any of them, and you're going to save object, and then I would click on my Tyranids folder, and we change this to Combat Patrol. And then you hit save. I'm not going to do that because I already have some models selected, so delete. So I'm going to open up my Tyranids. I have a Combat Patrol unit right here, so I'm going to click it and then click again, and there is my Combat Patrol. Now you can see up here I have first half of brigade, second half of brigade. I have a 2,000 points army, and you saw how it took a bit for it to load in. It had that lag. It's because there's so many models. Now on my laptop, it would have taken longer because it's an older laptop. This is a newer computer I'm on. So right click, left click, and it just dropped in all of my models for the 9th edition 2,000 point army of Tyranids. So I'm gonna click delete. So this is just one way of playing Warhammer if you are unable to find a local table or store that allows you to. This is an easy way for you to build an army. It's the cheapest way to build an army. You have access to, I like using this word, a plethora of different types of tables that you can play on. All these lines here represent different, having a major brain fart on the word. Deployment, there we go. My goodness, it's called deployment, how you deploy your models. I will admit that I do actually play myself on here a lot. Testing out the different armies that I want to play and seeing how they play against each other. The best way to find people if you don't have any friends that are interested and want to shell out the $20, Discord groups, Facebook groups. You can easily find people in there and say, hey, new player, want to try to get some test games in. Anybody willing to help me out, teach me how to play, how to run things here on Tabletop Simulator. There are plenty of people willing to help you. But yeah, that is for a way to play Warhammer with your friends or new people online. If you don't want to spend the money on models, because I can attest that it is a very expensive hobby. I do highly recommend trying it out here first to save your wallet. But if you have a local game store that plays at the tables and people are playing, walk up and say, excuse me, I'm new to this, I'm interested in potentially playing, may I watch to see how it goes, like how this is played and how it's done. Some people will be like kind enough to even explain to you what's going on. It may be confusing at first, so definitely recommend watching how to play Warhammer games on YouTube. There are plenty of videos of how to play. There's plenty of videos of how to start an army depending on what army you want. And then there are plenty of lore videos. Don't be shy to ask people in the stores how to play. If some areas have a local Warhammer store, and they do play games there, feel free to give them a call if they're out of the way and you don't want to drive all the way just to ask them questions. But if you and some of your friends that are local are interested, make a day out of it. Take a trip out to your local Warhammer store. Take a look at everything they have in the store. Ask the employees their questions. They have people that are there playing games. They'll have people there that are building and painting models sometimes. Some stores even offer a little class showing you how to build and paint a model. So give it a shot. I will go ahead and show you one other thing since we're already here. I mentioned other board games and the Batman game, so we're going to load that. Sorry, I had to reload. I clicked on something and forgot to point out. So this is Batman the Animated Series, Shadow of the Bat. This is a really fun board game. You can see here you've got Commissioner Gordon, Batgirl, Batman, and Robin. They've got their cards here. They've got the states, like all this. There's a how to play video on YouTube as well. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description box down below as well. So it's going to be a lot of links down there. Commissioner Gordon has officers that help him as well because of his rules. But you've got, here we go, you've got the rule book. So it tells you what the game is, components, all the pieces, what they mean. You don't have a tray reference. It shows you the anatomy of your cards. All that tells you how to play. You've got your dice here. You've got battle dice, other options, other things that you'll need here. There's your cards. You're going to need these tokens depending on what happens. But up here is the story. So you're going to scroll up to here. Next page, next page. You're going to see this. So you're going to hit, if you're going to be playing with your friends, hit cooperative. And it will load up the enemy cards, the enemy pieces. It sets up the board for you. It's like everything you need is here. And Cards Against Humanity is very simple as well. Let's see if I actually have that. I may not have it. That's right. I do have Cards Against Muggles on here. So we'll go ahead and just open Cards Against Muggles. See, you got a table right here. You and your friends would be sitting around. We'd be floating around. That's pretty cool. And you can right click, you get shuffle, cut, split, spread, reset, deal, draw, all that. It is super fun. And one of my friends, who am I kidding? A lot of my friends love doing this. And depending on the table, it will take a while before it comes back up. Some of them don't come back. This might be one that doesn't come back. Wow, okay. Yeah, this one doesn't come back. So in that case, you'd have to reset. So, perfect example. Do not flip the table, please. If you're like done playing the game and y'all about to log off, fine. Like most people won't care. But do not flip the table during game because you do not know if the table will come back or not. Hence why this is still down there. If we were in the middle of a game, a lot of people would be upset and you'd be embarrassed. So that is Tabletop Simulator and the cheapest way to try out Warhammer. Unless you've got a local friend that has multiple armies like I do, and they're built and they're like, yeah, we can do a test game. You can borrow my models. So other than that, this is the cheapest way. So definitely check it out. Like I said, Tabletop Simulator on Steam, $19.99. Once you do that, you can find anything pretty much on there. There's different games available. I hope that this was helpful, informative. If you've got any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask down below. If there's some confusion on something, I may do a video to go in more depth about it in the future. Like I said, I may even do a how to play Warhammer 40k. I may build an army on here for you all to see how it's done. I've never thought about doing that, but I've done how to make a character sheet for D&D, so why not? But go ahead and end it there. So please take care of yourselves, and until next time, hobby on.